from high atop 1926 Hollywood Boulevard, you're listening to SoFloRadio.com. SoFloRadio.com presents CEOmanship, becoming a leader in today's business world, with your host, Steve Gordon, CEO of Gordon Partnership Group, an international business consulting firm specializing in CEO bootcamp, sales team training, as well as client growth and retention. Visit GordonPartnershipGroup.com. Gordon Partnership Group. Your success is our business. And now, here's your host, Steve Gordon.
Well, we are back, and it's a new year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. That's Mark Anoff.
Happy New Year.
That would be George Rodriguez.
How you doing, Steve?
How are you, George? You know, it's unbelievable to me that we are now in 2015.
It is. It was just yesterday, and it was 2014.
Well, it wasn't exactly yesterday.
Well, in my mind.
Well, maybe you missed a couple of days, but yes, I get it. And, you know, it's amazing how quickly things move during the year, and every year seems to get faster and faster and faster, and that is a little bit about what we're going to discuss today on CEOmanship Radio and TV. An official welcome. For those of you watching our live video stream right now, or are watching in the future, and on one of our podcasts or on our website, CEOmanship.com, to my left, your right. Website.
More on that later, right?
More on that later. George Rodriguez, our producer and good
you.
friend. Happy New Year. It's good.
Remain seated, everyone. Right.
I'm not hearing the applause.
It's muted.
I have a button over here if I want to be contrived about that.
There you go. And Mark Anoff again.
Again, Happy New Year.
So before we get started in our show, I always enjoy asking each of you if you did anything special, maybe for the New Year or over the weekend. It kind of sets the stage for a light introduction into our show.
I did. Why don't you start with Mark, though? I heard he had, he got arrested and had to be bailed out on New Year's. I went to, my family's Cuban Christmas party. And
I called, and you never answered.
I'd like to say, just for the record, that no matter how hard I try to keep this show on topic and on business, it's impossible. I've lost the battle.
Yeah,
but let me. With that, I say, let's go over to Mark. Always dangerous, but Mark, flying without a net, Anoff. So it's the New Year, and did you do anything exciting on New Year's Eve?
Well, on New Year's Eve, I passed out, but on New Year's Day night, I was invited to a very nice party put on and hosted by Siren Sandra, host of our Siren Says show. So that was a very nice evening there. We sat around. She had some friends over and some business acquaintances that have appeared on the show as well.
Now, Siren's show is on what day, what time? Let's throw Siren a little plug.
It's Tuesdays at noon to 2. Is the Siren Sandra show or Siren Says show, and not only is there Siren, but there's Spice. And after the New Year's Day show on Friday, I had a special treat to be here on George's show when George had as his guest Siren Sandra.
That's right. We had
and Spice.
Big fat music.
Yeah, I want to actually. I'll come back to you in a second because I want to register a complaint. Where is the complaint department at the studio?
Oh, here it is. Oh yeah. I heard Mark.
For those of you watching, I'm just turning back and forth. So Mark
carrying a box around.
So the complaint department says,
sir.
I noticed that when I tuned in on Friday to George's show, and I was first listening, and then decided maybe I would watch on my smartphone.
You saw all of that.
I saw that. What I saw more than anything was beautiful flowers on the table. I saw a little drum kit. And I'm looking around here, and I'm going, I don't get flowers.
No.
You don't bring me flowers anymore, George.
I don't remember the flowers.
There was something that resembled flowers. She had flowers.
There were flowers?
Would you like flowers? We can always put them on.
I see. That's what it was. Okay.
Yes, that's
those
right.
are
So we'll
Christmas
bring them back
tree
in a
ornaments.
second
So Sandra brought those in. I don't.
Okay. Well, I was really.
I brought chicken. If you want to complain about something, it's that I don't bring chicken in for this show.
That's really crazy because I've heard these stories about Southern Florida and chickens and the running around and
yeah, sure. If you go to Key West also or Calle Ocho, lots of chickens. No, the chickens from the Publix over here. They got the non-breaded spicy wings, which I really like. I know, not very healthy, but nevertheless,
well, better than the fried ones though.
Yeah, well, they're fried, but they're not breaded, so whatever. I would like to be broiled.
So let's go back to New Year's Day night. hanging with
Mark had adventures.
Siren,
Right.
And now, was this where you had your New Year's revelation, or what?
Well, you know, I had my revelation the day before, and maybe some Sable and Lox and Nova. But other than that, I have not participated the past few years in New Year's Eve. And this year, I chose not to make any New Year's resolutions.
So your resolution was not to resolve.
That is correct.
Okay.
And so far, I've pretty much not resolved to resolve anything.
So you stuck to your resolution of not resolving.
But I've gone out, Friday night and had some fun, and Thursday I didn't go out Friday night. I paid for a Thursday night on Friday night, but
we were trying to keep our audience here. Let's keep this moving.
I know, but it's all about business. At the end of the day, in my world,
Poor Mark.
It's all about the business.
So where does this tie in?
It just ties in that I'm part of what I do is trying to help promote this station. So Sandra had guests that came over to her house that I could talk about our station and what we do. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, my weekend when I did go out, it was out looking for new opportunities for SoFlo Radio.
And we are always looking at the station
Absolutely.
for sponsors for
that
the
is
shows,
correct.
and for partners and
new shows as well.
And new shows.
I mean, we want more shows that tie in with what you do. So if you're a business person out there and you feel that it's only even half as good as Steve Gordon's show, CEOmanship with Steve Gordon from Gordon Partnership, you can always contact us and we can talk to you about doing a show. Let me continue, if I may, because my week was filled with trying to get new customers. You notice the hat.
I was going to say, does this have anything to do with this funky hat you're wearing? For those of you not watching,
that's his new business hat.
That's right. It's my new SoFlo.
How would you explain?
Well, it's very simple.
Well, I'm asking George for a minute.
Okay.
How would you explain the visual on this hat for the people that are listening and not actually watching?
Well, I didn't. When he came in, I mean, it's not a fedora. There's an actual name for those hats. It'll come to me. But it's a white hat, first of all, and I like that image because we are your white hat people.
I'm waiting for him to say Bond, James Bond.
It's like
my hatsmith says it is a fedora.
Well, your haberdasher.
Haberdasher.
I'm gonna have to have a word with
His
your
name
haberdasher.
His name is
Yes.
Ernesto from
your
Cute Hats and Handbags.
Your milliner is in error. So
Ernesto, if you're
I'm gonna
listening,
take issue with Ernesto.
Ernesto, if you're listening,
Yeah.
or Anna, his
what's
lovely
great?
wife.
What's that?
One time, this is
Hats.
actually my show.
I'm gonna take it. I haven't even started the George portion.
we
yet.
haven't even
But
gotten
we're
there.
your white hats people, and I think that the new when we come up with SoFlo radio station togs, that we should have a Florida style hat.
I agree.
And that's a contender right there. But we're the good guys. We're the.
But
white
here's
hat
what
people.
happened.
So yeah, what's with
So
the
here's
hat?
what happened. I go in. I'm looking for this hat, this type of hat anyway, just to see how it fits on my head. And I talk to these people, and I say, you know what? We're all about business promotion. When you talk about SoFlo Radio, it's really not about advertising or sponsorship. It's about promoting someone's business.
Did you get a hat in the form of payola?
No, I did not. I paid for this hat.
All right.
But I said future hats and future opportunities may involve a trade of some sort. However, again, these beautiful people, Ernesto and Anna from Cute Hats and Handbags, or Cute Handbags and Hats, whatever you want to call them, located in Festival Mall on Sample Road in Coconut Creek or wherever it might be. Anyway, a half mile west of the Beltway of 95. Anyway, it's all about business promotion. And I said to them, and this ties in with Theo, I said to them, do you have a website? Well, in order to really be a business promotion partner with us, you have to have a website. Because what we actually do at SoFlo Radio, when we promote a business, is we're trying to drive people to our customers' websites and let them sell their product.
Well, that's the beauty of a show that streams over the internet, is that while
Correct.
you're listening, not while you're driving,
Correct.
but while you're listening, you can just open up a new browser page and click on a link while you're listening to us speak and go to one of our sponsors' pages and place an order all
Correct.
while you're listening to us.
And remarkably, or what really ties in, is that I was able to learn all of this better because I listened to Steve and Lori Gordon from the Gordon Partnership Group. And one of the things that they said over and over again, or that they say, is read. You'll learn so much by reading books. So Steve sent me a book which I've been reading, and I've been reading other articles and reading news about internet broadcasting and media, which is what we are. And the
Radio.
We are radio.
I said radio, but
radio,
that's
but
good
we
also.
are radio. Forget the television portion.
Well,
we are radio.
I think.
But you inspired all of this.
Well, thank you, and it makes me proud and it makes me happy that you say that, and I thank you for the accolades. I want you to know that the thing I love about what we do here, and this is what people don't always get right away about online radio and television, is that unlike terrestrial radio where you're driving down the highway and maybe the station comes in and out, and you know, who knows how many hundreds of maybe a couple thousand listeners in a big metro, but with this we can have listeners today live, this afternoon on a replay, tonight on a replay, tomorrow on a Facebook page, iTunes podcasts. All of this lives in perpetuity, and so that advertisement or that discussion where you're promoting yourself on a show actually gives you the opportunity to be heard over and over again, and many times could be 5 or 10 years from now.
It's like being engraved in stone. It's part of the archive.
It's
forever.
etched forever.
It is
Forever resonating through time.
Mark,
Space.
thank you for that, and thank you for the kind words.
And if I can say, I did take it one step further.
Okay.
And yesterday I went to the Las Olas art fair on Las Olas in downtown Fort Lauderdale. And again, I was looking at some of the craftswork that was out there, and I'm saying to myself, what of these can communicate on our station and really become a part of what we do and benefit as being, you know, business promotions that we can make here on SoFlo Radio.
So watch this, Mark. Watch me tie an old show into this current comment.
Absolutely.
And plug one of our prior guests. So you remember Mark Katzenberg, who is the founder of 2J's. So, you know, each week I kind of drip a little bit more information about their restaurant, and it's such a cool concept. I cannot wait. We'll definitely do a remote from their restaurant when they open, but it's going to be on what street?
Las
Olas. There you go. Okay,
Great
so
place.
let me jump over to you, George Rodriguez. New Year's or weekend story?
Weekend story. My New Year's, I just spent it with my family. We drank scotch and danced to Cuban music. Well, I didn't, because I don't dance to Cuban music.
Who is would be an example of a famous Cuban musician?
Tito Puente.
Oh, of
Is
course.
probably
He's Puerto Rican.
Foremost.
He's Puerto Rican.
Is he? Well,
yes,
all right.
he is.
Well,
But the Cuban community
There you
likes Tito. Okay, so nothing big on New Year, but you have a weekend story.
I have a weekend story. It was a monumental occasion. As you know, I skate routinely. And my daughter, my 12-year-old, is on the spectrum, the autism spectrum. She's very high functioning, very high. She does all the math tricks and the music tricks, and she talks. But her problems, behavioral right now, specifically, you know, doing anything that she doesn't want to do. And even though she loves skating, she would never participate in any of the skating games that they have there on the Sunday afternoon. And they have one called Red Light, Green Light, little contest. You've seen
I remember
it
that
happen before.
when we were
Yeah,
in,
they say red light.
gym.
The announcer calls out red light. You go, and they say green light, 1, 2, 3. You have to stop by the time they get to 3. Anyway, she would never participate in any of that. She would sit out all the games. And we go there. I put up a picture over here, and I don't normally.
I don't want to interrupt your story, but wouldn't it be green light, go?
Yeah, red light. Yeah, that's
red
what
light,
I meant.
Stop.
The game is called red light, green light, but they do the green light, go, and then they say red light, 1, 2, 3.
Right. I don't want to confuse our audience,
Yeah,
especially
well,
those driving.
I just
thinking they're doing
confused
it wrong.
myself. So yeah, they're just causing accidents left and right now, thanks to my story. So. And this page won't load up, but you can see this is our regular skate crowd. We have different, now that the New Year's over, the two other skating dads that are regulars there came back with their children and their daughters, and really nice. And all the kids go out to play red light, green light, and some of the adults too, like me. Mm-hmm. But my daughter never goes out, and this time I was very surprised to see that she was out there. And she lined up
It's a big deal.
to play red light, green light. Very big deal.
No,
Very
it
big
is.
deal.
It's a huge deal.
And she's not a bad skater. She's a pretty good skater. And that's a relative term. Most people would say that she's a very good skater, but I have my standards. You know, she's merely okay. Okay,
You're one of those tough parents.
There's a bar, there's a standard over there. She's not good at stopping, and red light, green light is all about the stopping.
Makes sense.
Yeah. You have to be good at stopping, and she's still working on that. She's good at maneuvering, but not so much the stopping, which is why I think she never really wanted to play the game. And just she's not really social or competitive, and so this was a big deal to see her out there, and she won. She got into the top 3.
Oh, that is so
fantastic.
And I'll put the picture up for the viewers, because I know this is the picture of her posing with. They win a glow stick. The first 3 people win the glow stick, and she she came in 3rd. So the other 2 kids are the regular skaters that are hot dogs. There's little skaters there that are hot dogs. And here, I can put it up on the screen because I did a little thing there. There she is holding up the glow stick that you win, and of course she's got her headphones on. And because she always has to have her headphones
you had to be like
I almost cried, because especially towards the last leg, it was between her and another little girl for the very last glow stick, and she quite literally slid in for the win. That's how a lot of kids stop, and she's no exception. Is they're not good at stopping. She uses blades, so she's not good at stopping with her heel.
Right.
She can, but not like stop dead. So most of the kids, they just drop and slide, and that's what she did. She slid in through the cones. You got to stop there, and I'm there just biting my nails and tense, and you win, and they hand you the microphone, and you get to say your name, and she makes up a name, because I always make up a name when I say my name, and I kveld, as they say, and I think she's going to participate, and all her other little skater friends, all the other little regular girls that skate with her, made a big deal and cheered and rallied around her, and it was really nice, because she'd never done that, never had any interest, and it was that's banner day for me at the roller rink with the daughter.
Well,
and,
congratulations to you
Thank you.
and to her, and really proud of her. This is turning this back a little bit to business. Think about, you have, in order to be comfortable, I always say this to people, in order to be comfortable, you have to get uncomfortable first, right? And what was your daughter's first name?
Arabella.
Right. Was that her real name, or is that her stage name?
That's her real name. No, she has different stage names.
So Arabella had to get
her
uncomfortable.
fake name was Space Explorer. When they asked what your name is, she said Space Explorer.
Well, that's great.
The name of a song she likes.
Well, so here's the point. She got to the point in her life where she said, I'm going to do something that makes me uncomfortable because I want to do this. And she crossed the comfort barrier and pushed herself. And, so many times in business, we find ourselves coming up against a wall, and we know we should be trying something or doing something. And even if it's picking up that telephone to make a few more cold calls or prospect calls or whatever you're doing, and yet we never do because that pain is not there. And again, going back to that quote, you have to get uncomfortable before you can get comfortable.
I have a refrigerator magnet that says, "Life begins at the end of your comfort zone."
I like that.
I forget who said that. Che Guevara or somebody. I don't know. Some commie.
Well, there you go. So here we are in the first show of the new year, and let me just, for those of you tuning in or have not tuned in past, and this is your first show, again, my name is Steve Gordon, and I am the CEO of the Gordon Partnership Group, and I am your host of CEOmanship on SoFloRadio.com and SoFloTelevision.com. CEOmanship is the radio show for business owners and CEOs, and if you're a business owner or maybe you'd like to be featured on CEOmanship, please contact me at steve@CEOmanship.com. That's CEOmanship, like Peter, .com. Please don't forget to visit CEOmanship.com after the show. Before I go on, I want to say that for those of you listening last week, you know that I've been battling a very large battle with my hosting company, where the server that my domains were hosted on, my websites were hosted on, got hacked. And
a lot of that going around.
Yes, we had that conversation last week.
Yep.
So thank you. A shout out goes to SoFlo Radio's in-house programmer, really, Dio. Great job. Put together my CEOmanship website over the weekend, has me back up and running in a new format. We're going to get Gordon Partnership back in shape in the next couple of days. And so, Dio, thank you for a great job. Really appreciate your effort there. And I think that those of you listening who go to CEOmanship will find the new format very easy to navigate, and we will be populating all the past episodes and shows on CEOmanship.com, as well as adding some more content. What you're seeing, if you're listening live right now, is the very raw website, but thank you, Dio, nonetheless. You can also go to iTunes and you can search for CEOmanship and then hit the subscribe button. And this way, each week, the audio version of CEOmanship will come right into your iPhone, iPad, Mac, any listening device, electronic listening device that gets podcasts. So please do that, then you'll never miss an episode. I love podcasts, again, because it gives you the opportunity to take the show with you. So, for example, if you're on an airplane, you can listen to an episode that automatically downloaded directly into your phone and gives you the ability to listen when it's convenient for you. Again, I like to get up in the morning, ride my bike, and listen to podcasts to educate myself, because when you stop learning, you stop growing. We've also had a lot of listeners contacting us. Have we?
Yes,
not,
we
sir?
do.
And they're asking, how can they have someone, whether it's myself or someone else from the Gordon Partnership Group, come to work with their organization, especially now at the beginning stages of the year where budgets are being developed. And so if you contact us, either steve@gordonpartnership.com or steve@ceomanship.com, whether it's a one-on-one mentoring, group sales training, keynote speaking, we do it all. Anyway, a little bit of shameless self-promotion. On Facebook, it's Gordon Partnership. Twitter, follow Steve Gord. Instagram, Gordon Partnership. LinkedIn, just search for Steve Gordon and Gordon Partnership. And again, on the iTunes podcast library, CEOmanship, and our website, CEOmanship.com and GordonPartnership.com. George, I just happened to look over to the left, and I see that the computer in front of you just crashed.
I restarted it, actually. It didn't crash.
Well, that funky message does not look like a message that you get on a screen when it
this is a very old
restarts.
computer. This is a Windows XP starting up. I had to use this old computer. Well, I don't have to, but there it is.
Well, there you go.
Nonetheless.
So today's show brought to all of us in part by the smarthomeownersprogram.org, smarthomeownersprogram.org. Those of you who are regulars know, and if you haven't gone there, why not? Get on the computer and type in smarthomeownersprogram.org. Do it now. And when you get there, just enter your name and your email address and a little bit of information about the home that you own. Here's the deal. Smart Homeowners Program, they just simply formed a business relationship with all the major real estate professionals in your community. And they say to you, look, you own a home, and someday the likelihood is you're going to sell that home. All we ask is that if and when you sell that home, keyword is what, guys? If, right?
If.
Right? You're not committed, but if and when you sell your home, that you use a broker from their network, which is pretty much everybody in your community anyway. So, hello, you're doing it, so why not do the next step, which is to fill out the form and tell them that you want to be part of the smarthomeownersprogram.org network. And then when you do that, based on the value of your home today, they're going to give you between $300 and up to $10,000 over the next 3 to 5 years to spend as you please.
Okay.
How would you spend if you had, say, $5,000 coming to you, say, $1,000 a year for the next 5 years?
Well, I'd buy a lot of pizza and leave big tips.
That's very admirable. And Mark, if you were to, say, get $3,000, $1,000 a year for the next 3 years from the Smart Homeowners Program, what would you do with that?
I'd invest in a vehicle, I think.
See? Practical and pragmatic.
There you go.
Frickin' frack. Well, either way, I hope that both of you have taken advantage of the Smart Homeowners Program, and all of our listeners, please do it right now. You don't have to click off this show. You can keep listening, open a new browser, and just type in smarthomeownersprogram.org, fill out the information, and see how much they will be willing to send you ASAP.
Now, Steve, I have a question. I was talking to one of my neighbors about this program, and they asked a very good question. What about condominiums? Do they qualify under this program?
As long as it's a personal residence, single-family residence, then yes.
Okay.
The only caveat is, from what I understand, the minimum value of the home has to be at least $100,000.
Okay, that's good to know.
But above and beyond that, good to go. So thank you for sharing the smarthomeownersprogram.org program with one of your friends.
I share it all the time.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
So here we are, and it is the new year, and lots of people make lots of resolutions. A lot of people make resolutions, and then by about the 5th, 6th, 7th, or 10th of the month, forgot the resolution they made. So first off, I'm proud of you, Mark, for not forgetting the resolution you made, even if it was to resolve to not resolve. But at the same time, some people we're going to give you a pass. This is the first work day, the first Monday of the new year, so maybe you didn't make your business resolutions yet. I want to share a few thoughts with you. And by the way, Mark, if somebody wanted to tweet, say, their personal resolution to you right now, listening live, how could they get that to you? Or
Well, they can tweet it to @Mark Anoff.
MarkAnoff.
And that'll get to me, or they can Facebook me at whatever it is I am on Facebook.
What are you?
I don't know.
Oh, man.
You know, but
Well, that was very helpful. Let's just stick with the @Mark Anoff.
Right.
Didn't you choose it yourself?
So here's a
chose
couple
mine.
of things that I was thinking about when it comes to resolutions and also the new year, just in terms of sort of business planning, life planning, etc. The first thing I've completely grown to understand, and this has happened maybe in the last several years, I think that I've become more aware of it since I've been married. Lori's very, very spiritual and very, very aware. I noticed when we first got together, a lot of things would happen. Like she would say, I haven't heard from so-and-so in about 6 months. And like 15 minutes later, the phone would ring or a text message would come in from that person. Or, things like that happen all the time to her, right? So she's very intuitive. And she would say to me all the time, you have to be aware. The road signs are there for everybody, but a lot of people just drive right by them. And she's constantly saying to me, be aware of the road signs. And so as you as a business owner or a CEO or management, be aware. Be aware of what's in front of you. And the other thing I've come to recognize in my own life, at least, is that you can't force things to happen that aren't supposed to happen. I've become more and more aware that even when things look like they're not good, there's a reason.
Okay.
For example, this morning, last week we were talking about Taylor, our amazing daughter from, she lives here in Florida now. And so she was up visiting family and friends in Connecticut. And on the way home this morning, she called Lori and she said, there's a problem. The plane's late. They're not taking off. The door is not closing properly and they have to get a part from another airport and it's going to be a while and blah, blah, blah. And, we turned and we said to her, well, you know what? Number one, that's okay, because it's better that they fix this than, God forbid, it fell out and the door blew off in the middle of the flight.
God forbid.
God forbid, right? The second thing is, maybe there's a message there. Maybe something was going to happen somewhere else and it didn't happen because that door got jammed and they were like an hour late. Mark, this is the third week in a row. Are we getting text messages? What are we getting?
yes, a text message.
A test message.
A text message.
All right, we're going to have to put a big sign in here that says, please turn off all... is yours off, George?
It is.
All right.
It wasn't last week, but that's okay.
Okay, I know. Anyway, now I've lost my train of thought.
So anyway, we're talking about your daughter.
Right. So the message to Taylor this morning was that everything happens for a reason, and if the reason was that maybe if that plane had taken off on time, something would have happened, or who knows. All we know is she landed, everything was fine, and it was a little bit of a delay, and okay, we were kind of put off a little bit in terms of picking her up, but at the end of the day, it's fine, right?
Right.
Same thing in business. So I want to share an interesting story. Last week, I get a phone call.
Okay.
And it's from a gentleman who had connected with me on LinkedIn. And he and I have had either inbox conversations and maybe a telephone conversation, I would say once a month for the last 6 to 8 months.
Okay.
The first time I met him, he said to me, I've seen some of your videos. I like the way you sound and I think that we might be able to work together. And can we arrange a phone call? And we had this conversation, and it was a great one. So it turns out he's the COO of what is about to become a multi-billion-dollar corporation, and that's billion with a B.
Billion.
So, we go back and forth, and sometimes I'll send him a quick text message or an email or even a voicemail, and I don't always hear back, and that's okay because he's a busy guy. He also travels back and forth to Africa for several weeks at a time because his corporation is involved in bringing solar power to very small villages that don't have power in parts of the world like Africa and South America, very underprivileged communities. And so the reason I'm setting this story up is that I get a text message on, I don't know, maybe Wednesday or Thursday last week, and it's from this guy, and he said, hey, can we schedule a phone call?
Okay.
So we talk the next day, and we have a great conversation. Meanwhile, the morning after I get the text message, setting up the call for the following afternoon. So in between the text message and the phone call, I wake up and I go to log on to check email from a client that is a somewhat tumultuous client. And the email is not working.
Don't you just hate that?
So immediately I'm thinking, okay, something's wrong. Then I go to log in to their back office to check some reports so that I can have my conference with someone in management there. And that's not working. And I say to Lori, this is not good, right? Because they don't just, these things don't just shut off. Now, this is a group of people that I'd worked with for a while and had a very, very good relationship with. And I could go into all the reasons why this happened, but I'm not going to. Suffice to say that we were at the point of renegotiation, and rather than just say, you know what, we just aren't in a position to renegotiate the way we had promised, the business owner called me that morning and just said, I started the phone call by saying, hey, so are you guys having a problem with your server? Because I can't get my email. Well, I don't know. I haven't checked the server yet, was the response. Anyway, so that client then goes on to say, look, we can't honor our commitment to you of the renegotiation that we were supposed to give you. We just not in a position, blah, blah, blah. So I go, okay, but integrity is very important to me. And part of the contract that we had was that I would give them sort of what they wanted in terms of an agreement for a certain amount of time. And starting January 1st, they would then commit to my contract. All right. So I gave and I took, and that was fine. So the short of the long story is that relationship is severed because I can't work with somebody who doesn't have integrity. So one might turn and go, wow, okay, that really stinks. Without any warning, a client just sort of pulled the plug on a contract.
You had no warning at all?
No, none. Which in retrospect, I understand. I mean, I know the client and I know the personality. However, it wasn't right. But anyway, the point is, one might say, wow, that's really a terrible thing. I mean, loss of income, loss of commitment, you didn't book anything else. But remember I was saying things are supposed to work the way they're supposed to work?
Right.
So now think back on this story. The night before, I get this guy who says, we need to talk tomorrow. So several hours after I had this daunting conversation with the client, ex-client, I have this incredible conversation with this COO of this huge company who says, when I get back from Ghana, we want to start working with you. And do you have the time to make a really big commitment? Because this is going to be a big deal. I mean, this is going to be a huge, huge deal. And if I was working with the other company, I wouldn't have been able to take that opportunity because I wouldn't have been able to give these guys the time they wanted. So read the road signs and understand that everything that's bad or seems bad isn't necessarily bad. It just is the door to the next good thing. And so it may not happen right away. It may not happen like it did in my case where it's just like hours later. It could be days later, weeks later. We were talking about things that are, great things that are about to come for SoFlo Radio and SoFlo Television.
Right on.
And, you've put in a serious amount of time and love and dedication into this station, George. And,
yeah, man.
And good things are going to happen. I know it. You know why? Because you're a good guy who does the right thing. And when you do the right thing, all the time.
Right.
And you do the right thing to people. Now, I could have told this guy to go scratch, and I could have gotten angry and emotional, and because he not only that, but this client also said, by the way, the last transfer, the payment that we set out that was supposed to come January 1st, keep that as my. So I thought, well, okay, that's like 2 weeks, and that's nice. Well, guess what? As soon as we hung up the phone, that emotion must have changed because somehow the transfer email that came to me days before and the actual transaction to the bank never occurred. So when you do the right thing to people, right things happen to you. And so rather than turn around and tell this guy what I really thought about what he did, including not telling me the truth twice, I just said, okay, that's fine. I'm not going to lower myself to somebody else's standard just to be angry, because it doesn't help the cause anyway, right?
Right on.
And the universe will give back to you when it's the right time. Anyway, we are up against a hard break. My name is Steve Gordon. You're listening to CEOmanship on SoFloRadio.com.
More CEOmanship with Steve Gordon next on SoFloRadio.com.
By the Glass.
By the Glass is a show about beverage culture.
Brad Hubbard.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the dots on how everything works together. It's really all about how we enjoy things, how we enjoy life, and how beverages play a big part in that. I'm going to bring in people that are going to display their aspect of the culture. I'm going to bring in people that are going to show you different products. We're going to look at places where people go to consume these beverages and how they all interact. Things are built around the actual beverage itself.
By the Glass. Thursdays from 6 to 7. Only on SoFloRadio.com. Put a team of professional consultants behind your home or business computer with Key Information Solutions, providing solutions to your internet and computing needs while keeping you on the cutting edge of technology. Preventative maintenance and networking support, hardware and custom-built computers. Let Key Information Solutions be your personal tech staff for your home or office with affordable hourly, monthly, or annual rates to fit anyone's budget. Call Key Information Solutions now, 954-973-3374. That's 954-973-3374. Or visit keyinformation.com.
When you're ready to actually lose weight safely and steadily while being monitored by a physician, the Weight Loss Clinic of Dr. Kim Jacobson is there for you. The family medicine practice was established by her father in 1956 and continues as a medical practice that now specializes in weight reduction. Dr. Kim Jacobson joined the practice 20 years ago as both a family medicine practitioner and weight loss specialist. The Weight Loss Clinic utilizes a combination of appetite suppression medication and vitamins to produce great results, usually 3 to 4 pounds per week for most patients. Now you can change your lifestyle while still enjoying your own food, just less of it. They offer a choice of 2, 3, or 4-week plans. So whether you just need to lose a few pounds or a lot, the Weight Loss Clinic of Dr. Kim Jacobson can help you. They're located at 5454 Northeast 4th Avenue in Miami, just 2 blocks west of 54th Street and Biscayne Boulevard. Call them at 305-751-0091. They'll be happy to answer any and all of your questions. That's 305-751-0091. Get started on a beautiful new body today with Dr. Kim Jacobson and the Weight Loss Clinic.
Now, back to CEOmanship with Steve Gordon on SoFloRadio.com.
Welcome back. I'm Steve Gordon, and this is CEOmanship on SoFloRadio.com.
Yes, it is.
It is. George, thank you. Mark, during the break, we got several questions that came in through Twitter. And so I think what I want to do is answer those questions first and then talk about our topic for today. So the first question came in from a medical practice.
That's
a dental
correct.
Practice.
A dental practice.
And the question was, what do you do? How do you handle a rude patient? But that could be a rude client.
Actually, it started out as that their office resolution, was to handle rude customers without being rude back. But they sat and they talked about it, and they are really not sure that's the best way to handle a rude customer.
This is what I've learned over the years. You don't know what's going on in somebody's life and why they're not nice or they're nasty, etc. And I have always found that whether it's your children or a business associate, to start by trying to kill them with kindness. And that's so somebody comes in and they're really nasty. Instead, they're expecting, half the time they could be nasty because they're projecting your reaction to whatever it is that they're saying or doing at that moment. And my suggestion to you is, to listener, is try to go out of your way to be super nice and to say to that person things like, well, I understand, and we'd like to be able to try to resolve this with you, and what is it that's concerning you, and ask a lot of questions in very calm tones. And even if they're a little bit nasty, understand that it's not about you. All right, it's not aimed at you.
Right. Somebody comes in already hostile. It can't be about you. You haven't done anything yet.
Right. You don't know if they just got a phone call from the credit card company, their bank, their kid just got
Maybe
arrested.
their website's down. Maybe their server got hacked.
Their server got hacked. Right.
And they're all hacked off about it.
Exactly. So the point is, try my advice to you, my counsel to you is to try to go out of your way to be above board. And you know what you're going to find out? That you can't be, that person cannot continue to be mad at you and angry. They're actually going to start to feel really silly, and they're going to realize that they may not say it, but they're going to soften up. You'll see. And you may end up getting a best friend and a best customer because everybody else treats that person really badly because they're rude to the other people as well. And now you've come back and killed them with kindness, and now they go, wow, I really like this dental practice. Another question came in.
Another question came in a few moments ago about negotiating in good faith. And I guess that was part of what you were talking about with that particular company. I guess this person is having difficulty coming to an agreement, and the person that they're trying to deal with is not really negotiating in good faith.
Well, remember this. First off, it takes two sticks to start a fire. All right, so you can't. And this goes back, by the way, it's also as relevant to the first question, which is that you can't have an argument with just one person. And you can't negotiate with one person. It's like dating, right? If you want to go out with somebody, but they have no interest in you, it doesn't matter how much you're trying, it's not going to work. So my advice is this. If you're negotiating and the person you're negotiating with isn't responding or is not playing fair, so to say, then it's probably better that you know now than you get in a relationship and then find out later that they had no intent of keeping that agreement anyway, as I found out. So,
yes,
my counsel to you is do your best to always be above board, up front, put everything in writing, even if it's email, even if it's text messages, because you can print those out. But at the end of the day, try to keep things moving forward. But if you're, don't always, and by the way, and never bid against yourself. So if you're negotiating a contract and you come in and you go $100,000 and they don't respond, don't come back and go, well, $90,000. Because you're not bidding against them. You're just competing with yourself. So figure out. You need to ask a lot of questions, and say, for example, things like, well, Mark, I put that out to you at $100,000, and that's what it's going to take to do this job. I didn't hear back from you. What are you thinking? Or, what's keeping you from responding? Do you want to try to resolve this, or is this something you're no longer interested in? Let's cut past the BS and get right to the bottom line. The art of negotiation is an art to do it right, but at the end of the day, it still takes, back and forth, and you have to ask questions to know where the other person is.
Well, thank you for the answers. And again, to our audience out there, if you have questions, you can tweet me at Mark Anoff, and we'll try to get those questions about your resolutions answered before the end of the show.
So let's take a few minutes and talk about a couple of things that some of my business associates and I and Lori have resolved to do. Here are sort of a couple of top resolutions, and I want to go into what each one means. The first one is focus on what I would consider to be recurring revenue. So yesterday, we have a contractor in the house, and a painter comes in, young guy, mid-30s, and while we're talking, and Lori's in another part of the house with the contractors themselves, and I'm talking to the painter, he starts to tell me about another product that he's trying to launch, and that he was interested in moving at some point in the next year out of the United States, or out of the continental United States. He's interested in moving and promoting a product. And we talked about this product. I gave him a couple of tips. He had a great idea, but it's not the kind of product that you use or purchase more than a couple times a year because it doesn't run out very often. So we talked about things like taking that same product and focusing on niche markets, right? Meaning it could be basically the same product with a different color, a different label, and different smell, and one for moms, one for babies, one for men, etc., one for the sports market, one for whatever. The other thing I said is, you need a backup product, because when people fall in love with you and your brand, and they can't buy another product from you for, say, 4 or 5 or 6 months because they haven't run out, they want to spend money with you. So you want people to be able to purchase one of your brands over and over again. And so try to focus on something that drives recurring revenue. A stream of income that comes in month after month. I've been very, very fortunate, as you guys know, to have built a business that allows me the opportunity to receive income every single month for work that I've done years ago. And it's really nice to get a check.
Sounds nice.
It is really nice to get a check every single month for a very nice chunk of change for business that we did and customers I developed. I mean, obviously, I'm not getting paid if the customers aren't buying, but my customers for that particular brand are very brand loyal, and I get paid every single time those customers reorder for that one-time introduction of that customer to my partner company. And so I love that, and it gives me the comfort of knowing that no matter what's going on, including a client saying no mas, that I know I still have an income coming in every month. It's
That's
kind of
great.
like having money in the bank, throwing off interest every month.
Writing a book or a movie that keeps on selling.
The sad part is, and those are great things, but unfortunately, if you think about it, except for the Bible, most books don't last more than several months on the bestseller list, if that at all.
Those guys aren't getting residuals anymore.
Well, that's my point. Yeah. and so in order for an author, a great author, to continue to receive royalties, he or she has to write a new book. An actor or an actress. I mean, sometimes movies hit the theater and they're on DVD, and then they're on HBO, and then they're gone, or on Netflix. But within months, those royalty checks don't exist anymore. So there really are very few ways to generate that kind of recurring income. But if you would like to send an email to steve@ceomanship.com, I'd be more than happy to share a couple of my personal thoughts with you on some of the things I've done to create recurring income. Here's one that drives me crazy. The amount of time that people spend, and I'm sorry to say this because you're our social media expert, but the amount of time people spend on social media can really chew up your day. And I'm not talking about business time, but we've all got one of these. I'm holding up my iPhone, or some people would have an Android or whatever. But my point is this: you can really waste hours and hours a day, and it's mindless time in many cases, because people are just kind of they can't do anything anymore. Have you ever noticed? I hate to say this, but have you ever noticed how many people take their phones into the bathroom? Like that used to be a thing you could do by yourself.
I must take my phone. I get a lot of work done.
Okay.
In the bathroom.
So,
if you had a high fiber diet, by the way, Lori would tell you if you had a high fiber diet, then you wouldn't get a lot of work done because you'd be in and out. But that's a whole nother show.
Listen, I got Velcro, it puts on my steering wheel. Texting and driving, I do full on emailing and driving. I'm so very good at it, man. All
right, for our listeners, please, we're not endorsing.
No, do not endorse texting and driving.
Here's another thing.
That's called sarcasm for the people that don't.
Yeah, of
All
course.
right. We never know.
Even
I don't know.
He actually has a full keyboard next to his seat.
That's right.
Like a cop car,
Heads-up display, 2 screens. Yeah, I don't.
2 screens.
I don't
Trading
play
stocks, boys, bumper to bumper.
That's
on
right.
95.
I got a ticker.
There you go. So speaking of social media, here's another thing. You got to put your electronic devices away, especially at night. That's what I'm talking about. Mark, you made a face.
Well, I make a face because I'm in the business of social media, and I find it very upsetting and I experienced it yesterday when I'm talking to a potential client. Yeah, well, I can do this, and I can do that, and I can do this, and I said, yeah, but I do this, and I do this for a very fair fee, and I'm giving you good value for what you need, and I understand what has to happen.
Well, we had this discussion in one of the very first shows that we did, and we talked about the fact that, everybody's got a 16-year-old that can tweet, but the reality is that there are people like yourself who are expert at social media. I mean, when you post for me, I'm very aware, and I can see the traction because you know the right words, you know what to do, you know how to post, you know when to post. There's timing, there's all of these things that are so critical, the right hashtags, etc. So I'm not saying don't use social media. I'm just saying, it's the hours on Instagram when you could actually be talking to your kids or playing softball or roller skating with your daughter.
Right.
But I look at parents sometimes, and this is, all right, so this is my opinion. And I look at parents who are like with their kids at like a soccer game, and they got one kid sitting next to them, the one kid on the field, and they're like, Facebooking or whatever. This is supposed to put this stuff down. Get back to life and give yourself freedom and hours back into your life.
Sure.
So when I say put your electronic devices away, there is study after study after study showing now that using electronics, it's the light from the electronics at nighttime, really impacts our ability to fall asleep. Right, because our bodies, is it their circadian cycle? Is everything, George?
Sounds great. Yeah. Well, it's the same thing that why they don't turn the lights off in the chicken houses in the hen coop. They don't know that it's nighttime. They keep laying eggs more. We're very programmed by light, no question. I read the same or similar article about put those electronics away to get a good night's sleep.
It charges your body back up, and so I have. Well, here, let me go back a minute. Because we've now moved into our new home, the bulk of our furniture is still on its way down. It will be in a few weeks. So we've just sort of created little spaces in our house. And one of them is in this living room, den area, family room. It's like a large area that does have a television. But the last several days, we would sit either outside by the pool or inside in this little space. And we picked up books. And we're reading, and we're talking, and we're going to bed at a normal hour, which is so healthy. Lori had this conversation with one of my business partners the other day because he was saying that he's so driven by work that he can't fall asleep till 4 or 5 in the morning, and then he wakes up at 10. And she's saying you can't do that. You have to get your body on a regular cycle. Go to bed early, wake up early, get your work done in the morning. From 6 to 9 or 7 to 9 or whatever. But get off the electronics, and if you want to fall asleep, you'd be better off reading a book and letting your body just sort of unwind naturally. The other couple of things I want to talk about are getting help. A lot of times, and this is what my company does, we go in and help other corporations. You can be banging your head against the wall trying to grow over and over again, and sometimes it's a tiny little tweak. It's a tiny little change, but it's hard to see the forest through the trees when you're the CEO, the business owner, the president, the EVP, the sales manager, the HR department. You're also running to Staples to buy, paper and Costco to buy coffee. You get so stuck in the mire of what you've been doing, and sometimes it's just a little bit of an outside influence that can bring great advice to you. So it costs money, but spend a little, make a lot is always a good theory that I've subscribed to. Here's another thing. Fund your retirement. We had Gene Marks on a show several weeks ago. For those of you who are new listeners, go back on CEOmanship.com and find the show with Gene Marks. And he's a brilliant accountant. He's written 5 or 6 books, and he's on TV all the time. And one of the things he talked about was please fund your retirement fully. And if you're a business owner, go back and listen because I don't have the time to explain. But if you own a business and you don't have a SEP set up for your employees, you can actually double deduct. You can get a double deduction as a business owner by setting up a SEP. I went to the bank and took care of that for my corporation because I didn't have one before I spoke to Gene as a guest. So it was simple to do. It took no time at all, and I had a great person help me out. But if you're going to live, hopefully to have your retirement, let's live and be healthy. So we always have Lori on here at least every couple of weeks, and she's always talking about the little things we can do to remain healthy and to use food and exercise and breathing and all of these things that don't cost money, and they're already doing them hopefully anyway. We talked last week. I bought a new bicycle. And even though I had a hockey game last night and I came home and I was a little tired this morning, I still got up at about 6:30, 6:45, and I got on my bike and I did 10 miles. I'm getting back in shape because that's my mental health and my physical health time. I love getting out there and it's nice and the sun is coming up and you add all these things: quiet time, thinking time, exercise, lots of oxygen getting into your body and breathing and your blood pumping and the sunshine, getting enough vitamin D because most people are vitamin D deficient. This is what happens when you live with a health coach. You learn these things. But all of that...
Healthy things happen, I imagine, when you live with a health coach.
Yes, usually they do. And you know what? When they don't, it's with moderation. Because we'd be the first to tell you that everything in moderation. If you have to have a cheeseburger, then do it. Just don't do it every day.
You're very lucky living with a health coach.
Yeah, well,
that's
it's the running joke in my family.
That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it.
So it's the running joke in my family because when I met Lori, she wasn't a health coach, and she loved to cook, and I was getting things like chicken cacciatore.
So that's good. Now you just have to console yourself with your health.
Right, exactly. We're
long
getting all
life,
these crazy great meals. Pasta and breads and cheeses and real butter and oh my God, I'm getting hungry. But you know what? Yesterday, I was running out to an appointment and Lori said, "Well, hold on," and like cooked up, took some chicken out of the fridge, and organic, of course, and threw a few spices on there. Didn't fry it, just kind of grilled it up real quick, and it was phenomenal. And it was a great source of protein. I know, it was before my hockey game. She's like, "Listen, you can't go out and play hockey. Let me just cook something up for you real fast. Let me whip up a salad." And always makes her own dressings. It's real simple to do. She'll tell you about that when she gets back on the show. Anyway, keep learning is another really important thing. So I love to read. Here's a couple of books. Mark mentioned that I shared a great book with him. Did I give you the 4-Hour Workweek? Is that what I gave you?
Yes, you did.
I love that book. If there's an endorsement for which I am not being paid for the endorsement, but a great book, the 4-Hour Workweek. Here's another one I'm reading for our guests who are watching right now. The author is M. Walter Levine. I know Walter. I just spoke to him on the phone. Actually, I didn't know him 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, but I met him, and he gave me a copy of this book. It's called How Can I Help You? How Can I Help You? This book is phenomenal. You know why it's phenomenal? It's because his story is incredible. But this is a man who went through lots of ups and downs, and he had things in his life that were challenging and might have thrown many people off. Projects that started and people that didn't do the right thing with him, and yet he always did the right thing. And you know what? Talking to him as I have over the last few weeks, I've realized that he is exactly who he says he is in the book. And in the end, all of those good vibes and all the people that he did the right thing to.
You can see it on the screen.
I see you pushed it on the screen. Thank you. All of those things came back to him and paid off in spades, as the expression goes. So I'm reading. I'm just about finished with Walter's book. In the mail today from next week's guest, Tom Hopkins, I received an autographed copy.
Ooh, look at you.
Of what's called When Buyers Say No. So when I bid farewell to Walter's book, and probably tonight, then tomorrow I'm going to start reading Tom's book. I also want to pick up Joel Osteen.
Okay.
I'm a big Joel Osteen fan. Has a new book. I think it's called I Can, I Will. Anyway, that is right after Tom Hopkins. So I believe in continuing to educate myself. You've got to keep learning over and over and over again. Here's one that most people don't do. Check your finances and your statements all the time, whether it's your personal debit card or credit card to make sure there's nothing funky going on, to your business reports, because a lot of times we would rather bury our heads than look. But it's critical that you check out your corporate accounts. I would say every day. Speaking of day, plan your day. Plan your day. If you wake up in the morning and you don't know what you're going to do first thing, then it's like getting on the road to drive between New York and California without a road map or a GPS. You guys can't see this on the screen. Maybe you can, but George, you can see this. This is my calendar on my phone.
Right on.
And I'm constantly adding things to my calendar.
Yep.
Because if I don't know what I'm doing and when I'm doing it and how much time, like I had a phone call with Walter this morning, Walter Levine, whose book we just showed, and I started by saying, I've allotted 30 minutes for this call. Are we still good for that? And I had an agenda that I actually emailed over to him to make sure we stayed on track, because I wanted to make sure we covered everything I needed to cover. If you don't plan, you can't execute.
I agree. No, I'm a big day planner myself. I get frustrated when the people in my life don't go along with that, or they'll call me a name, because I if they're not on schedule, If they're not on the schedule that they agreed to, then I get whiny.
Mr. Gordon, meaning my father, always says, if you're on time, you're late.
Right on.
We're running up to the hard end of the show, so let me
Yes,
just
we
jump
are.
the last one. And two things. Send out your invoices on time. You know, cash flow is important. And by the way, send out cards. Send out notes. I send out handwritten or what look like handwritten, if I have to admit that, notes to people I meet and people that I do business with constantly, because it's a lost art, and people love to get something in the mail. We are at the end of the show. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll be back next Monday with the phenomenal Tom Hopkins. I'm Steve Gordon. I am the CEO of the Gordon Partnership Group, and this is CEOmanship on SoFloRadio.com.
You're listening to SoFloRadio.com.